Pick the Nintendo Shack and pray. Frederick from Fire Emblem Awakening says, yo.
Greetings, Koopalings, and welcome back to the Nintendo Shack. My name is Donnie Reese, and tonight we record episode 106 of the Nintendo Shack podcast, the flagship Nintendo podcast on the PSVG Podcast Network. And I'm a man down this evening. Caroline messaged me not 8 minutes ago saying that she could not make it. And that's, one, that sucks because we all love Caroline. We definitely wanted her to be here. But two, this show is supposed to be focused on Luigi's Mansion 3, and she's almost beaten it. Like, she was by far the person to go to for all of that goodness. And we're definitely going to miss her, but I will make do. And I've brought over Mr. Bill from Run, Jump, Stomp, Switchcraft Podcast. How are you doing, man? Thanks for dropping by the Shack.
Oh, man, I can't turn down the opportunity to talk about video games. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, Caroline sends her regrets. She really wanted to talk to you. She talks about the Twitch streams and all the raids and everything. So we'll have to have you back for sure.
Awesome. I do watch her from time to time. She's very chill. One of my favorite streamers. Very relaxed.
Oh, yeah. Yes, definitely. Except for when she's playing like an MMO. Then you don't want to watch and you stop watching. But yeah, if she's drawing or something, totally fine. Everybody can go watch. Okay, Bill, we do this thing every show where we do a Mad Lib to thank one of our patrons. So this is typically the Caro focus. I read her the Mad Libs, and she fills in the blanks. And I had one set up. We were supposed to do the Lord of the Rings, because we're kind of in the middle of the trilogy.
Okay.
But it's not going to work.
No.
It's not going to work. So I'm going to throw one on you, and we're going to see how this goes. Here we go. Thanksgiving from a kid's point of view is the title of the Mad Lib.
Okay.
I need a holiday.
A holiday?
Mm-hmm.
Festivus.
This is going to be a great show. Festivus. I need a person. Actually, a person has to be one of our patrons. So I'm going to pick this week.
That's fair.
And let's see. Who have we not? Let's take... You know what? We have a new patron who just joined. And that would be Coach Mo, who just came back. And what a better way to celebrate his return than by throwing him in this week's Mad Lib. All right, I need a family relation. Brother, sister.
Family relation. Second cousin twice removed.
Second cousin twice removed.
I'm making him write stuff.
Normally I have them printed out, so it's a lot easier. It's going to be even funner. I need an adjective.
Staunchly.
Staunchly. I need another one.
Another adjective. Enhatted.
I don't even know that one. Now I need you to define it.
Somebody wearing a hat.
Oh, enhatted.
I'm just making up words, man.
Okay, I'll take it. Give me an animal.
An animal?
Yeah.
Wombat.
Wombat. That's a good one. I need a sport.
A sport. Cricket. That's the weirdest sport I know.
I need an exclamation. Exclaim something.
Holy cats!
Holy cats. I need a noun and a number.
Water bottle. And the number is 536.
I need an animal and a food.
An animal and a food. Okay. Cow, cheeseburger.
Almost there. Let's see.
And that is an animal and a food.
I need a flavor, 2 nouns, and another holiday.
Okay. One thing at a time. I'm not as bright as Caro, so a flavor. We're gonna say grape.
Got it.
What was the other 2 nouns?
Yep, a flavor, 2 nouns, and a holiday.
Poster. Another noun would be speeding ticket. and another holiday. You said.
Yep.
We'll say my birthday.
So this is going to be weird.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the point, isn't it?
Oh, definitely, of course. But like the last holiday, I feel like it shouldn't be a fill in the blank, but well, I don't know. We'll see how it reads. Here we go. Patron Mad Lib of the week. Today we celebrate Festivus dinner at Coach Mo's house. When we arrived, my second cousin, twice removed, greeted us with a big, staunchy kiss. Kisses are so inhatted. Now we're just waiting for the wombat to come out of the oven. My dad is watching cricket on TV. He always shouts, "Holy cats," when his team scores. This one's good. When his team scores a water bottle. What? Yes. Only 536 more minutes until the cow will be ready to eat. I wonder if my mom will let me try the grape pie. It smells like a poster, much better than my uncle. He smells like a speeding ticket. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
There you go, Coach Mo. Thanks for being a patron over there at patreon.com/PSVG. Okay. Tonight's show was supposed to be all about Luigi's Mansion 3. I don't know if we're going to be able to bring that show to come. I don't know how much you've played it, Bill, but here's the deal. My wife was in a wreck last week, which I've just talked about on our show, and I've been doing all of that stuff. My work also does a lot of elections, so Tuesday was shut. I have played this game for one session. I have 3 hours into Luigi's Mansion 3, so that's about as much discussion as I can bring. How much have you played this game?
About 3 hours.
Oh, fantastic. This would be
That's
so much
okay.
for a review. It'll be
say.
first impressions.
Yeah.
There we go. It'll be definitely Carolyn have that beat by the time we come back next week, and hopefully I'll catch up to her by then too. So I'll kick us off and say that I am playing this game primarily co-op. Actually, my entire session completely co-op, outside of the fact that it takes a minute before you get access to Luigi. That was one of the things I was a little surprised. I was like, man, I'm really playing a lot of this game because I knew that you could play both. You know, they talked about the co-op companion. So I told my son, I was like, Jack, we're going to sit down. We're going to play Luigi's Mansion 3 together. And he said, great. I started playing the game. About an hour later, I was like, all right, now you can play.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, he was just kind of bored. He was like, am I ever going to get to play? Or is this just a you thing, Dad? And I was like, no, it's coming. It's coming. But my first impressions, I got to admit, are very positive, very favorable. I really like the game quite a bit. I want to say, I mean, I've only played it that first opening session. I made it to the floor. I just fought the chef boss. So I think we just came down to like the second floor. Because it's a little wacky, right? So we went to like the first floor, like the lobby, and then the first floor.
Yeah, you're all over the place.
And then you go to like the fifth floor. And then you go back down to the basement, and then you come back up, I think. I also haven't played since Sunday, so my memory might be a little off.
Like
but
to the third floor or something after that.
Yeah.
Like you keep going up and down. You're not going in order or anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, I want to say my first impressions are that it's probably going to be my favorite Luigi's game. I played the original GameCube. I played Dark Moon on 3DS, and I've always liked them. I've always considered them B-tier type franchises, like in the Kirby's kind of fill in the gaps of a calendar. And I think this one, while I don't think this is Breath of the Wild, I think this is a notch above that, though. I think it's really, really good. It's a high quality game. I really enjoy the visuals. I like what I'm doing. I like playing. I really enjoy playing with Jack. I think it's creative so far, and it's funny. It's witty. So I'm enjoying it. What about you?
Well, my initial impressions of this game were extremely positive. The game is beautiful. First off, there's too many cutscenes at the beginning, which pushes me away. That drives me crazy. Let me get me into the controls as fast as you possibly can.
Sure.
Video game.
Yeah.
So ignoring the ridiculous cutscenes, which have some humor in them without a doubt. The graphics. This might be the best looking Switch game yet. Like, it is gorgeous, and it has so much personality. So much personality. Like Luigi's facial expressions and his animations, like when he is scared, he like stands up all super rigid and starts shaking and stuff. And I just find it to be really impressive what they are able to do with the Switch. And the frame rate always looks good.
Yes.
The mechanics are sound. It's really fun to play. I will say, and I talked about this on my show a little bit today. When you are, you know how you can use the motion controls to point the vacuum or the flashlight up or down. I wish you could also like twist your controller to turn to the left a little bit or turn to the right a little bit, because I tend my brain starts using the motion controls and then I try and twist it and it doesn't work, and I'm like, oh yeah, idiot, you got to use the thumbstick for that. And overall, I feel like this game would be 1,000 times better if it was a camera over the shoulder, kind of like Mario, because I have trouble with which direction I want him to face when I'm trying to vacuum up a ghost or shine a flashlight.
Do you do the thing where you spin in a circle?
Yeah, I'm just
I'm with
spinning
you.
in circles like some kind of idiot, and I'm like, is this my first video game or something? I can't.
And it's also it's like a depth thing. I get into a room where I feel like I can walk to the back, but like you can't, and then I start to spin. I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah, no, I feel you there.
Right, and this feels like a problem that I never noticed on the 3DS, because the 3DS had that depth. You know, you could see, at least if I remember correctly, you could see that depth, and you could see, okay, this is far away. I know where things are.
I also feel like on the 3DS, and this could just be me misremembering, but I also feel like it was more of not a top down, but kind of more of an angle. Whereas a lot of times, this time it's more like really like almost side by side.
It's very well. I don't know if you're right or not, because it's been way too long since
it has
I played
been a
that
minute,
game. But I do agree. This game would be better if it was either over Luigi's shoulder, like Mario Odyssey, like that style of camera position, or if it was more isometric, a little bit higher up with the camera. I feel like I would have an easier time controlling it. That being said, the game is, every time I've played it, the game has been very, very, very fun. But then there's a big pause here with the ... When I'm not playing it, I am not thinking about it. And it's like, I really thought I would be. Like when I was playing Mario Odyssey and I wasn't playing that game, I'd be like, oh, I cannot wait to pick that up.
So you
and
were wrapped up in it.
Right.
Yeah.
And it could be because I have just been incredibly swamped lately with all of the stupid little projects that I have going on and all of that. And then I went to Retro Game Con this weekend.
Yeah.
And so I didn't get to play it at all this weekend because I was super busy. I just have not been thinking about this game at all when I'm not playing it. In fact, I was like, oh, I'm going to be on Shack tomorrow. I need to make sure that I play this game. So last night I was playing a little bit more and I was enjoying it. And my wife was like, oh man, that's really cute. And I was like, and she's right. The game is really cute. And every time I have the controller in my hand, I'm enjoying myself. But as soon as I put it down, I forget it. And I don't know why.
My immediate reaction to hearing you say that was, I feel the same way, but it has nothing to do with the game. It is just how busy I am. I have been on the go since we stopped recording Shack last week. My entire day has either been full, either trying to catch up at work or actually at work or dealing with all of my life stuff after work. It probably isn't until tomorrow, to be honest with you, things start to... I just bought a car. It's like...
Yeah, that's a big not investment, obviously. It's a big... it's a time sink.
Yes. We had to go all the way across the city. They deliver it, check out all the different types. Exactly right. So I agree with you. It's not like on my mind constantly, but I think it's honestly just because I have a lot of things in my mind. And the first time I played it is actually one of the things I posted on our Discord. I kind of really dig its kind of chill mood. I think maybe because of all that's been going on, if anything, maybe it's like grabbing me a little bit more than the others in the series have before, because right now it's like, hey, just sit here and go vacuum some curtains and some spiders and like shine your flashlight at some, like, this is good right now. I don't need complicated and grand right now. I just need chill. Last week I'd mentioned that, I listened to way too many podcasts, and I've heard multiple folks talk about this game, and I've heard it referred to as like a 3DS game in HD. A lot of folks have said that the visuals, they didn't think it stood up. It didn't look that great. There was one point during one cutscene where I kind of got that drift. I was like, yeah, the resolution's kind of fuzzy. It's not that great. And then as I started playing the game, all of that kind of went away. I mean, I just wanted to go back to the point you said. The game does look absolutely gorgeous. And unlike Link's Awakening, it runs perfectly the entire time. Mm-hmm. There are no like noticeable glitches. There's nothing that's grabbing my attention on a performance side. It plays and looks like a cartoon. And that's all it, I mean, it just looks like you're watching Scooby-Doo or something happening on screen, and it's super charming and really detailed. Is definitely fits the bill, but it's not like the layers. The layers are simple, like the textures are simple. Everything's flat colors, contrast, like all of that fits. I'm trying to say it's just like really dense. There's a lot of stuff in every little room. It's like it's really kind of like packed in there and lived in there, and there's a lot of stuff to like go through all the drawers and go through all the bathrooms, go through all the cracks and look up there's a lot of stuff in every scene. And if you're just
and you can interact with it all too.
Yes. So if you're just kind of like going from spot to spot, there's a lot that you're probably missing. And that's this is one of those collectathon games. The whole point of this game is to go and find everything, get all the booze, collect all the gems, get all the money, all that stuff.
I've never seen a game that has animation as good as this does.
Yeah.
Like this is like Pixar. I feel like this is Pixar level animation for what Luigi looks like as he's moving around and reacting to things. That right there is what stands out about this game is maybe it is not the highest resolution or the biggest, most ridiculous textures or the most realistic looking materials, but the animation, the polish that Nintendo has put on this makes this game stand out. And that's why I feel like it's one of the best looking games. Sure, there are games which look more realistic, of course.
Sure. Yeah.
But I don't think they look better than this. In motion. Screenshots, it's not going to hold up as well. But once it's in motion, it's like, wow, that's just really amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And if I can put words into Caro's mouth, she's mentioned, she's dropped a few breadcrumbs in the Discord talking about how some of these levels that she get later on, I mean, she said multiple floors. She's picked 2 or 3 of them. She's like, best ever. Best in the series. Like, this is blowing my mind. So maybe that getting all wrapped up in something, and maybe that's still yet to come because we're both still pretty early on it.
I hope so.
Yeah, no, but the Pixar was spot on, by the way. That was what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
That was all of my words were basically trying to say that, yeah, it's Pixar. It does look like a Pixar game. It's pretty fantastic in that regard. Okay. Anything else on Luigi's Mansion?
I mean, like I said, I'm pretty early on. I do love Dr. Egad,
of course.
Pasa or whatever the stupid word.
Well, the virtual boo.
That he says. Oh my god, that was great. The VB. I love the red interface and stuff like that. And I will say this: until you get the map, the game is very frustrating. Like, I was in the parking garage, and I'm walking back and forth, and I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do? And I didn't notice that on the floor there was like a little door painted. Mm-hmm. The door was on the fourth wall, if that makes sense. And I
towards
didn't
the screen,
see it,
like you got to walk towards yourself.
I had to walk in. I had to walk towards the screen, so I keep walking back and forth. And I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And then finally, I hit the door by accident. And then eventually, you get the virtual boo, and you're like, oh, okay. Now that I've got a map, everything's so much.
I love
better.
that door. I didn't do the exact same thing, but I know exactly what you're talking about because I probably wouldn't have figured it out if I didn't realize that the parking stall that the door is like in front of, and there's like an arrow, and there's nothing there anywhere else in the entire thing. I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense, but it's still weird because you don't see the door. Like, there's no door to look at.
Right, and I was kind of looking at the rest of everything else. I wasn't paying attention to the floor as much.
There's that secret like chain area that you gotta like. I kept focusing on that for a minute. I was like, wait a minute. There's
right with the with like the electrical room and the chain link fence. Yeah.
Yep.
Also, I like the addition of the plunger thing, where you can shoot the plunger thing out and then vacuum that back, and that was kind of cool. I like there's a fight early on where you have to use that, and I think that was really cool. I think the fights are kind of fun, although it might be a little too easy. I am enjoying it though. I especially like being able to slam the ghosts into each other. That's very satisfying. But when you get them down to like the 0 health or something, if there's more than one, they just disappear instead of like it would be more satisfying if for a second like they would clog up the vacuum and then into it. And that doesn't happen when there's more than one of them, I feel like. Or maybe I'm just not giving it enough time.
No, I think you're right. Yeah. Yeah. When you kill them and they go to 0, they just kind of like evaporate. They don't necessarily.
Right. Yeah. I feel like they could have done better. Like almost like, when you vacuum a mouse.
Yep.
Like when you hit the mouse and they get stuck in the tube for a second. It would have been cool if the ghosts did that. And one more, I get not really a complaint, but a nitpick. I feel like the HD Rumble is incredibly lacking. I'm not really noticing it, and I was playing earlier with the Joy-Cons, and I was like, okay, it's fine. Well, the Pro Controller has terrible HD Rumble. Yeah.
Did you play multiplayer at all?
I have not. We've just been super swamped, and my son is incredibly obsessed with Fortnite. So
yeah, mine too.
If I can get him away from that for 5 minutes, I don't know if I want him to go do something else instead of playing a game.
My son and I did in our little play session. We did play some multiplayer. We had fun with it. We played. There's like a point race mode where it drops you and your co-op companion on a little graveyard, and ghosts come at you from all different directions, and he or she that grabs the most ghosts wins. It's okay, it's like a little rush mode, but the Scream Tower, that's a lot more fun. So the Scream Tower, they drop you in, and you actually have a timer, and you're actually in like a floor of the mansion, and you have to get as many ghosts as you can to clear the floor in a specific amount of time. And you can earn power-ups like more time and all that kind of stuff as you go through. I think it's meant to be played with 4 players. We did not make it on our first try. We did make it on our second try with just the 2 of us. And it's pretty fun. It is a neat... There's a little more multiplayer to that than the other mini games. Like the other mode is basically a mini game. This is actually something that I would like to attempt to do. I would like to clear the entire Scream Tower, to do all floors and have that. Like there's a little more meat on that boat. It's kind of like it's not like a horde mode, but it's kind of like that, where if you could make it through all the waves, I think I would have a sense of achievement from that. Whereas the mini games are just like something you throw on with the family to waste 5 or 10 minutes with.
Do you feel like it's viable for just 2 players? Because my wife doesn't really. Yeah.
Yeah. I do because the action. The action is even amplified a bit more with the vacuum and the slamming when you're on a time limit and you really got to get going. So you'll get to the point where we got to it on the first floor where it almost became essential that you were slamming ghosts into other ghosts so you could clear. Because if you weren't doing that, then you're wasting time, because now you're doing, instead of knocking out 4 ghosts in 2 tries, now you're spending time to capture all 4, and you get behind the time and all that. And so you really got to talk to each other. It's very much a co-op thing. You got to talk to each other. You're not going to make it out of there. And
awesome.
I think that
I might check that out then.
It's fun. I enjoyed it. And so it just adds a little something extra when you complete the game. Go do the Scream Tower. I think the Scream Tower, if the difficulty keeps ramping up as I would expect it to, it being a tower and everything, I expect it to be quite the accomplishment to reach the top. So fun. Okay.
That sounds awesome. I want to check that out now. You've convinced me to give it a shot.
Yeah, give it a try. See, that's the thing. So Caroline plows through all the content of the game, and I'm like, here's what playing it with your friends are like. That's our gimmick. Here's how it plays with children. We are going to break into our news, and we have a ton of it. But first and foremost, highlighted today, Smash 6.0 patch comes out with Terry Bogard. There was a 50-minute, I guess the proper term is Nintendo Direct. I mean, they are calling them that, right? Nintendo Direct Smash stream.
They just said it was. They said it was a thing with Mr. Sakurai. They didn't say it was a Nintendo Direct.
And
I don't know.
I think the PR said it though. Like the press release
Did
said
it?
it.
Okay,
I think so.
maybe I did miss the press release because, well, I mean, if I go to the Nintendo press site, like right now, it doesn't say that there was a Nintendo Direct. It says, I'm waiting for it to come up. I've got a spinning and spinning and spinning. Here we go. Terry Bogard from Fatal Fury joined Super Smash. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about Direct on here.
Okay,
I don't know.
Just Sakurai did a Let's stream. He just did a Twitch stream talking about his new fighter. I didn't watch the whole thing because I was working. So, but
I was at work too. 8 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast. Like
it was 50 minutes long.
I know.
Caroline did provide us some notes, though, so I'll read through some of these things. First and foremost, let me get the Caro news out of the way. Dark Samus and Richter Amiibo are on pre-order now. You can pick them up January 17th. But, all right, so he said Sakurai took a while explaining Neo Geo's history and Fatal Fury, Terry's game. Terry has similarities to Ryu and Ken. He looks directly at the fighters while engaging them. His big thing is when he does damage over 100%, he can use cool, super special moves that allow momentum shift and different dangerous stuff. Our listeners know already. I'm not really Terry Bogard fan. I'm not into like Fatal Fury. This news. I'm not saying I don't like it. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to put it down. Just none of this news excited me. Not the announcement, not the unveiling, not this. I don't really care. So
I'm with you.
It's gonna be hard for me to sit here and like try to. I can't hype it up, guys. Caro was your girl. She's got all kinds of stuff about other characters. I don't care.
I feel like I'm happy for the people who really want this character. I'm just going to keep playing as Pac-Man. Pac-Man is my dude. I like playing as Pac-Man. He's my favorite. Throw a fire hydrant, throw a cherry at somebody, hit somebody with a ghost. It's super fun. This is just a character that I have absolutely zero affinity for, but I can recognize their importance in fighting game history and why they should be included, even if it's not for me.
Yep. I know they added a ton of music. Caro also put in here they added 20 cameo characters from the Neo Geo games, the backdrop to King of Fighters, so that's pretty cool. And she did put in here, I know this is near and dear to her, and if I didn't say it, she'd probably hit me. Mai Shirenu from Fatal Fury King of Fighters is not in because Sakurai says, quote, Smash is for good boys and girls, or is for good boys and girls of all ages. So obviously,
I didn't like that. That ticked me off.
Oh, really?
I mean, I don't necessarily care about the character. It's not a character that I'm familiar with, but the idea that just the female form is automatically offensive. I mean, like, come on.
Well, I think
like,
in the game,
you not take your children to the beach.
She's got some serious jiggle physics in the game going on, right? Like that's.
I don't know. I just looked at a picture of her.
Yeah.
But you could tone that down. It's
of course you could.
I was talking about it today. Somebody said that didn't they tone down Bayonetta's outfit for this game?
Yeah. Yep.
Right. So just do the same thing. If she is an important part of fighting game history, and they were thinking about using her, and then they decided not to because boobies. Like, calm down.
Good
like,
point.
Relax.
Very good point.
That's how I feel about it. And I could not get that out. I was recording my show today, and I probably went on and on about this for probably 5 minutes because I couldn't get the words in the right order. I feel like I got them in the right order already, so I'm going to stop talking.
No. I think you did a great job. I mean, I like. God. I'm going to sound like just the pervious person. I typically like the suggestive type games, so I don't care at all. I'd be all for it. I like Catherine. I like Bayonetta. I don't care if you want to put it all in there. I don't think every game is for everybody, just like every character isn't for everybody, So I don't care either way, to be quite honest with you. But I think the point's well made. I could see somebody getting, a little upset over it, but they got Terry in there, and I guess he's the one. I do think the Kirby Terry costume is pretty cool looking.
Where he's got the hat on.
Yeah. That's awesome. A pretty good one for Kirby. But it'll be interesting to see, if I know gamers out there, Twitter is not a good place for any sort of, either PC culture or anti-PC culture or any definitive stance on anything like that at all. Usually has some sort of outrage or uproar. So I'm sure somebody out there is really upset about this, but
Honestly, I don't understand why they brought it up at
There,
all.
that's more or less what I was going to say. Yeah.
Like, that is just so. That's like, hey, look, there's a landmine. Let's sit on it.
You're just stoking
Like,
the flames at the point. Just don't even say it. Yeah.
Just don't even mention her. Just say, hey, here's Terry Bogard. Here's how he plays. Here's the stuff that comes with him. Oh, this other person? We're not going to mention her.
Sure.
Problem solved.
Yep. Yep. Okay. So sorry, Caroline. We'll let you come back and fill in the gaps here for anything I missed. I don't even know if I'll ever play with Terry, to be quite honest with you.
I'll try it, but and maybe I'll be like, oh my God, he's the best. But and he's not Pac-Man.
I was thinking he'd be my, like, when I saw his unveiling trailer, and I saw people, posting all their favorite gifs of the series and everything. To be honest with you, when I first saw him, I was like, oh, maybe he's gonna be like a lighter, like Little Mac. Maybe he's gonna be like a Little Mac that can jump and move and stuff. And then in our Discord was like, no, he basically plays like Ryu. I was like, okay, I'm not interested. Oh, never mind. Don't care anymore. Okay. What else do I got here? Luigi's Mansion 3, by the way, is selling extremely well. It's charting number 2 in the UK behind Call of Duty. And sales reports 140% higher than other sales in the Luigi's Mansion series over Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. The Switch's highest selling game of the year in the UK market already in its first week.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's for now, because that's not going to last for long. Enjoy your time in the limelight, Luigi. And to be fair, they sold 150,000 copies in the first week in Japan, which is a really, really good sale through.
Yeah.
But Pokemon's coming, and Luigi is going to get smacked right in the face.
I've got to complete Call of Duty, and I've got to complete Luigi's Mansion before Pokemon. So that's basically I got 9 days. I got to get going.
I got until December 25th because Pokemon, for my son and I, we always buy the both. We buy one for each of us. He picks which one he wants, and then we open them on Christmas, and that's when we play them. Although I have a show that I need to be able to talk about this stuff, and I can't talk about this stuff, so I feel like I need to play it, but I shouldn't. I'm going to wait. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
That's really sweet, actually. You kind of caught me because my son and I very much do the exact same thing, except it's not Christmas-based. My son's birthday is November 8th. And it seems like
town. That's my birthday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So we are buying him this Friday. He's getting the Pokemon Light Edition. And next week we'll get Pokemon, and that's his birthday present. And it's kind of lined up that way. The last 3 Pokemon games we bought, or 4. We did Sun, Ultra Sun, Let's Go, and now this one. And it's basically set in stone. This is what we do for his birthday until he doesn't want Pokemon anymore. But it's gotten to the point now he just expects it. It's like, hey, what do you want for your birthday? He's like, we're not doing the Pokemon thing. So, but we do the same thing. I buy both, and he picks his. I'm playing Shield this year. He wanted Sword, so I think Shield's better. I'm not going to tell him that, but I'm excited. I'm really excited, actually. I've been talking about it for weeks. I'm really, really excited. So I've got to beat Luigi's Mansion before that game comes out.
I don't get super excited for Pokemon. Like, I wasn't even going to buy Pokemon Let's Go. And then I watched somebody streaming it on Twitch, and they were like shiny hunting. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I've got to buy this right now. And so I went downstairs and I said, honey, is it okay if I buy it? And she said, yeah, go ahead. And so I ended up buying it. And because my son and I weren't sure about that one because it was going to be so different than all of the others. So we weren't sure about that. So we ended up not doing it last year. We did it with XY. We did it with Sun Moon. We did it with Super Sun and Crazy Moon or whatever that it was called. I can't remember. And then with Let's Go, we were going to skip it because it didn't look like it was going to be the same kind of game. And it wasn't, but I loved everything that they did. And I had so much fun with that. And I put a lot of hours into that game. I didn't beat it because I don't beat games. But I had so much fun with it. Now, I'm not excited for Pokemon, but as soon as I have it in my hands, I know that I'll be like that's the game that I'm going to be thinking about when I'm not playing it. Sorry, Luigi.
Yeah, no, I'm not with you there because I've been I have been excited. I've been saying how excited I am to play Pokemon all year long. Even through all of the bad press and the Pokedex and everything, I'm like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm super excited because of the new Pokemon. I'm always excited when they have a bunch of new Pokemon, just because you get to meet and greet new folks. You know, like I try to stay away from some spoilers, although we have some here. But the open area, the wild area, I'm so excited for that. The new look, the new graphics, even though I know it's the same style, but just the better resolution, the better models, HDness. I just want to go get lost in another Pokemon world and go become the best again. I don't do the shiny HUD stuff though, so that's what I wanted to ask you. Like, are you really into the collect 'em all, the shinies, and like the breeding and making your own team and all that?
I wouldn't say that I'm super into it, but that's the part of the game that I like the most. Is just I want to catch them all. I don't care about fighting other people. Like, that does not interest me. I'm not super into trading with people. If somebody wants one and I have duplicates, I'll gladly share with them, but I would prefer to go out and catch all of them myself. I find that to be more fun. And I do think, like in Let's Go, I love the way that they did the shiny hunting. It just made sense, especially the fact that you could see the Pokemon on the open world, like you could see them.
Mm-hmm.
That made it so much more enjoyable than, oh, look, it's going to zoom in and it's not the Pokemon that you want, so you have to run away, rather than just avoid them.
Yep.
Now, this one kind of does both, I guess, and I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. I would much rather it always be visible and never be the random encounter, but we can't always have what we want.
Especially not
I do
with Pokemon.
like, what's that?
It's especially not with Pokemon.
Right, especially not with Pokemon. Although the whole thing with the national decks, I understand their reasoning. It makes a lot of sense. It's a ridiculous amount of work for them to make 700 new models. And I know that there's people who are like, well, they're just copying the old animations. Right, but it still work. And
Yeah,
yes, they are copying the old animations. I saw some of the new animations versus some of the old animations, and they are frame for frame. They look like the same thing, but that doesn't mean it's not work to do.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say with the increase in resolution, and now that they're making them for TVs and HD, it is a lot of work. Like, it's it might look the same, but it's a lot of work to get it to that level and make it ready for that level.
Right, because the what is the 3DS is what, 240p?
Yeah,
and we're going up to 1080p. Like, can you imagine if they didn't increase if they didn't make the animations, or not animations, the textures and stuff better, and the models
it would
better?
look awful.
You'd be like, oh god, that's hideous. It's like when you go from a regular 3DS to a 3DS XL, you're like, oh, that's ugly. I'll deal with it because it's more comfortable, but it's ugly. Having 1080p at that would just be bad.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm not making excuses for Pokemon. I actually largely agree with, I don't say agree with all of the outcry, but I understand some of the reasoning behind the outcry, because Pokemon just prints money hand over fist, and they have such a huge studio that I'm all for holding developers and publishers accountable. Like, I don't even know accountable is not even the right word. Just, like, it's on them to sell you. It's like, it's on them to win you over. So if they're not winning you over, don't buy the game. And if you don't buy the game long enough, then they'll do things to want you over. But I think, like the Pokedex thing, which I feel like we on our show, we've talked about it so much, but I mean, you're a guest and you're new, so I just don't want to say all the same thing I've already said over and over again. I'm really looking forward to, like, this game. All right, so I'm going to say one of the spoilers. I'm not going to spoil everything, so Pokemon fans don't freak out on me here. But Cubone is not in this game. Spoiler. Like,
what?
He's not in the game, and he's my favorite Pokemon, and he's the one I always play with, and he's not in the game. And guess what? I really don't care. I can play a Pokemon game without Cubone. Like, I'm totally happy and fine to being almost somewhat forced into doing something else. I wouldn't like if it was always the case, but I like this idea with the Pokemon or the Pokedex being special from game to game. And I think collecting them all, if you want to say not per game, but collecting them all over a span of 3 games, I think might be very rewarding, and more rewarding if they're exclusive to certain versions, and not every game has everything all the time. Because I think if you keep doing it somewhat, I don't want to say annually, but if you keep doing it somewhat biannually, I just think it starts to lose its. I'm not into the collector thing either. Like, I don't collect them all. I'm very much into. I want to get here. I want to get my 6 favorite Pokemon. I want to go beat all the gyms and get all the badges, and then I'm done. So, like, it's very, very different thing. I don't represent most players. I realize that, but I don't mind if, I love Cubone. He's my favorite, but if I want to play with him, I've got to get him in the next game, and then if I want to get Poliwrath, I got to get him in the other game. I can't get him in this game. I don't mind that at all.
I feel like they'd be better off if they included the entire decks as just the sprites, and you could say, look, these are the guys that I caught. I have them.
Gotcha.
I can't summon them into this game because of some lore thing that they could make up, but I have them.
Yep.
And these are my friends that I have collected over the whatever number of years, and I have them. And I think that if they did that, a lot of people would be like, okay, I can deal with that.
Yeah.
There'd still be angry people, but I think a lot of the outcry would go away just because people want to see their collections.
I also thought that they would bring them in post game, not like immediate post game you beat the game, but like almost like Smash, like in Wave, they would have updates like every month or so. Like, guess who showed up? I actually the entire time leading up into it, until Masuda was like, no, we're just not going to do it. I had been expecting that with these raids. I've been expecting these raids would be like a time to highlight, a new Pokemon, like, guess who's here now? So and so showed up.
That would have been really cool.
I thought that
hey,
from the
everybody,
beginning.
Cubone's here. You got to go raid to get him.
Exactly. I was like, this is, oh God, I'm going to play this game forever. I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah. Oh, man. That would have been a really good idea.
That when they first announced the raids and everything, I was like, oh, this is why they don't have them all in there, because of this.
Now,
and then they were like, no, Donnie, that's not it.
Now they are going, like, you are going to be playing this game for a long time because of those raids, because I guess in the raids, like, there are items that drop that then you can use. I think they're called mints or something like that. And you can use them to decide which stats your Pokemon will increase when they level up.
I think they called it changing the nature of your Pokemon. Like, you can like change
without
its, like,
changing
mood
the nature
stuff.
though. It'll still say the same nature apparently.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's how I understood it. But then there's also these like energy drinks or something that the Pokemon can use, and that will make them level up faster, and XP crystals that you can give them so that you can level up ones that you're not carrying around. And you get all of these things from doing the raids. And I think that this completely changes the competitive scene, because people are going to be out there and they're going to be getting their stuff and feeding them into their favorite Pokemon in order to make them the exact right stats. You don't have to worry about the luck of finding the Pokemon that you want with the right nature. You can find the one that you want and then
Make it.
Do some work to change him to make that, or her, to change your Pokemon so that it is competitive. And I think that that's really cool.
Yep. You can
I
grind
think
it
it's
out.
really going to.
Oh, I lost Bill for a moment. Let's see if he comes back. It's so funny. I told him that I never have any issues.
Be back.
There we go. I told you, like, we never have any issues with this. This been always works. And of course.
Probably.
No, all I wanted to follow up with the raids is I'm most excited about that because, yeah, they're add a little grind to it, and you get like those XP candies and all that, and you can level up your Pokemon. I like that a lot. I mean, for me, I'm really excited about these raids. I want to play. I think me and my son are going to play these together, and hopefully we can get a couple of members of Shack. We've got a good, I'd say, a strong Pokemon group over there in Shackland, and I think a lot of us will jump in and go take down the giant Butterfree and all the other stuff that comes up month to month, or however they're going to plan on doing it.
Yeah, I think it sounds fun. It sounds really fun. more fun than it has been in the past.
I agree. No, I agree. And as somebody who I don't like competitively play, online against other people, this is a cool online thing that we can all do and just have fun.
Right.
Doing. Yeah.
I wonder how long the raids are going to take, because like if you play a battle against somebody in Pokemon, sweet Christmas, that takes forever. And if that's going to be the case with these raids, then I'll probably just pass.
Oh,
but
really?
That's just me. Yeah. Well, I don't want to spend 30 minutes fighting a Butterfree.
No, I 100% understand you there. A lot of times when I play Pokemon, though, as I've explained over the years, a lot of times when I play Pokemon, it's like what I'm doing while I'm doing something else. I watch a lot of TV while I play Pokemon. It's kind of just vegging out for me. So I'll totally just raid and sit there and keep pressing buttons while I'm not really paying attention. I'll do that a lot.
See, I have pretty bad hearing problems. So whenever I watch TV, I have captions on and I'm reading what's on the screen. So I tend not to do that.
Okay, cool. All right, my next news story. See here, let me check in on the time. It's been a good conversation. Let me highlight just a few things I wanted to get in. This is really almost from last week. Nintendo did have a financial briefing. Operating profit doubled year over year and quarter over quarter basis. Switch has almost sold 42 million worldwide. The Lite is boosting Switch by almost 50%. The Lite sold 2 million Switch units worldwide in its first 10 days on market. 43% of the customers are buying a second Switch. Of those folks, first-time buyers had much bigger female percentages. So outside of the folks that are buying, or for the folks that are buying Switch for the first time, a bigger ratio of those are females getting in. You got to think maybe Pokemon, Animal Crossing are starting to pave the way for new adoptions. So that's definitely good stuff. I think the biggest news and noteworthy thing in terms of financial success is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is now the highest selling fighting game of all time. What an honor. It's passing Street Fighter 2, which has been re-released more than Minecraft. Or anything else.
That's true. I think it was released twice on the Switch.
Yes. Yes, it was. So, this is a long story to say, as I say most of the time when we get financial news, that Switch is healthy, it's making good money, and that's good for Nintendo. So that's all good.
It is. We have a Switch Lite in the house. My wife looked at it and she said, "That is the most adorable thing. I want it for my birthday."
Did she say the same thing about your dual D-pad controller? Because my wife said that was the most adorable controller she's ever seen.
I don't think she's actually looked at this yet, because we got this and I've just been super busy. God, this thing is so weird.
It's bizarre.
It is really bizarre.
I played Breath of the Wild with it.
What is wrong with you? It must have been awful. It had to have been awful.
It wasn't great, but it wasn't awful. Can you play it that way? If you wanted to train yourself, you can. Yeah. It can be done.
I will say they got the price point of this thing right. $24 I think is fair. Yeah. It's fair. It's just not great though. But it's very well made. Don't think for a second that this isn't well made. But using a D-pad on the right side is so weird. I just can't imagine my brain getting used to it.
It's much better with 2D stuff. So I played Super Mario 3, I played Ori with it, and all of that stuff is great. It's fantastic with it. But once you start getting to 3D games, trying to play Overwatch with it, it's don't do that.
By the way, audio listeners, if you don't know what the hell we're talking about, Google 8BitDo Lite. Mm-hmm. Google that, and you'll be like, oh, okay. I see what you mean. That's weird.
Little baby controller.
Yeah.
This is a good one. President Furukawa has revealed the company continues to have plans to bring over more 3DS franchises as they try to enhance the appeal of the Lite. So we are going to answer the same question that I'm sure every other Nintendo podcast the internet's answering. Bill, let me ask you, what 3DS franchises would you like to see come Switch's way?
Are we talking Nintendo only or whatever?
I'll take whatever.
Bravely Default.
That's a good one. Bravely
Default. Final Fantasy Theater Rhythm is a wonderful, wonderful game. It's so fun, and it's got great music. It's incredible. It's a great game. I would also like to see Kid Icarus.
That's the one that everybody
bring that back. Yeah, everybody says that.
That's the one that's on top of every blog post that I think I've seen with this news this week. Mm-hmm. Which it's an interesting one because I don't remember that many people liking it when it came out.
Well, it's got awful controls because
does.
the 3DS didn't have a good camera controls on the right hand side, so you were stuck using the touchscreen for camera, and you had to like hold it with your pinky and a stylus and push a button, and then the
Remember
thing.
they released the stand for your 3DS to sit in just so you could play the game?
It's so stupid. Hey, Nintendo, way to solve a problem that you invented. That's what I have to say about that. But hey, we've got. I can't reach any controllers from here. Oh, yes, I can. We now have a stick on the right. Who would have thought? So let's make that game that has a stick on the right and let us play it, because everybody says that game was dope.
It is good.
Just had really bad controls. So that's one. What about you? What games do you want?
I opened my 3DS to take a look at it, and the interesting thing. So when I thought about this, when I saw the news in the blog post and we got the questions, and thank you, James, by the way, for writing in. You know, I can't say that there's a whole lot of games that I specifically think are 3DS franchises, and the ones that I do that I think would make the most sense, I think they've already made their way over. Pokemon, Box Boy, we already have, like a lot of like these 2D Zelda games. I'm just looking at my 3DS. We have Animal Crossing's on the way, Shantae, Shovel Knight. Like a lot of my 3DS library is either already over here or over here in some way. And like Kid Icarus, I also wouldn't think is like a 3DS. That's just the last iteration. I wouldn't call the entire franchise, like a portable game. I don't think that's.
Well, I you're right, but outside of, maybe I'm wrong, but outside of the NES,
Yeah, like on
3DS,
Game Boy.
what other Kid Icarus games are there? Was there a Kid Icarus game on a console outside the NES? I can't remember.
Not, and definitely no, not like modern ones. Not in here in the West, or not.
Like, was it on the GameCube or anything?
Nope.
Okay, so to me that screams portable. Bring it over, Nintendo.
And when I was thinking about that one in particular, like it's on rails, and I guess the idea is if you had a second stick and a better console, like you could take it off rails. But like it's on rails, so if you're just playing it with a controller, I don't know if it's. I don't know, like without the stylus, like without that precision, I don't know how much fun that is.
Well, okay, I get what you're saying. I don't think that people are saying I want
Uprising
that game.
Do Kid Icarus.
They just want that.
I got you.
Universe.
Sure.
They want to be in that world and experience that lore and have that style of game brought to the Switch. And I can see that. Mario versus Donkey Kong. That's another one that I think would be really good.
That's a good one. I was about to say, be careful what you wish for, you Star Fox Zero fans.
Yeah, I looked at that and I said, no thanks. Romain in chat is saying Etrian Odyssey. I don't know what that one is, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's RPG series. Thanks, Romain. All right, so one that I really, really like, even though it's definitely not a portable franchise, but so we had the Metroid Prime Hunters game, or what was it called?
The
3DS?
Weird game with the soccer ball.
Yeah. That's it. That's exactly what I was about to say. Bring me Metroid Blast Ball, because I played way too much of this little app game thing that they did, and I freaking loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
I think that's a great idea, but if they bring it out before Metroid Prime 4, people's heads will explode.
Just like
they'll be like,
why
aren't you putting the development resources into Metroid Prime 4? Why are you bring Metroid Prime 4 first, and then bring Blast Ball, and I think people will get excited. At least that's how I feel about it.
Sure. No, 100%.
I want the Samus, the 3DS Samus
Returns.
game.
Yeah.
Samus Returns.
That was so good.
I never bought that because I was kind of done with the 3DS, and so I kind of missed out on what I've heard was a really, really good game. I had Lord NBZ, who, if you listen to This Nintendo Life, he is it's a British Nintendo show. I had him on one of my podcasts, 143 Pixels, and we talked about that game. And he really, really, we talked about Metroid Fusion, but we kind of paired into that a little bit. And that was a really, he kind of sold me on it, but I don't want to play my DS.
hold that. I wanted to get to that specific thought with you. But as I look through here, you could bring Ever Oasis over to Switch at some point. I think that'd be cool.
Which one is
second.
that?
That's Ever Oasis was the oh man, As I sit here and look at the screen, I can't remember somebody help me remain. They're the folks that do the Zelda remasters. Nintendo gave them their own game, and
oh God, what's their name?
see,
They don't have the best name, and so it's kind of forgettable.
so that'd be
What
good.
is
I do
it?
want to drop a little. I guess this might even be considered news, but I'm sitting here looking at Moon Chronicles. I'm looking at Dementium Remastered, and this is from Renegade Kid and Jules Watson, who's now at a TUI. And we were just talking about it on Twitter this week, where he was talking about Halloween spooky games. He did a thread about Dementium and how much he enjoyed Dementium Remastered. And these are the games that made me a fan of Jules Watson. So
Grezzo. Sorry, it's Grezzo.
There you
I
go.
wanted to say it before I forgot it.
No, that's spot on. Yeah, Grezzo. And that was a pretty good game that I think maybe getting it into maybe like an HD version or a sequel of some sorts, getting onto a Switch might get new life for that, folks. But Dementium, he was talking about how much he liked it, and we had a few folks who were like, hey, Donnie just talked about this. We were talking about spooky games last week with Halloween and all that. And they were like, he really likes this game too. And he told me, or he sent me to a link where he was like, Atui might be making a spooky horror game coming out soon. So
Awesome.
maybe there's something. It won't be Dementium. I don't think he has the rights to it anymore, but something like that would be really cool. So yeah, 3DS games that you want to see on Switch. Good stuff. I like Box Boy would have been the one, and we already got it. So like the other things that I go to when I think 3DS like portable, I'm thinking like, I don't know why. I'm just thinking like Pokemon Shuffle, like like the.
Oh, what was that? What was that one where it was like an RPG? Something Life, I think. Fantasy Life.
So Caroline loves Fantasy Life. I thought you were maybe gonna go like not the Miitomo game, but the other one. Like
I know what you're talking about, but I don't know what it's called. Yeah, it's Fantasy Life. That game was really good.
Caroline loves that game.
Did you ever play it?
Nope, I never played it, so I got nothing
It's
for you.
really good. You can do whatever you want. Like if you decide, do you want to be a cook today? You can be a cook and level up being a cook, and then you like tomorrow, the next day, you're like, all right, I think I want to go kill monsters with a bow. So you switch. That's really cool, and I think it would be fantastic to have a game like Fantasy Life 2 on the Switch.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. Tamagotchi Life was the one I was thinking of.
Oh, yeah, I never played that.
My kids love that game so much; they went freaking bananas for that game. So you put all of your Miis, right? You collected the Miis on 3DS. You put all of your Miis in like a hotel, and they live out like these life things together. They might like sing a song or get on stage, so you can essentially just like it's like very Sims-ish. You can make like your mom, your dad, your brother or sister, if you collect, weird Miis like I do, like the Joker and Batman and stuff like that. And you can make them sing songs or do dumb things. They jump out the window and crazy stuff like that. My kids, they had a blast with that game. That's definitely like what I consider like a 3DS game. I was going to think like all the Street Pass games. Like I keep thinking like bite-sized stuff. That's where I was kind of going with that. Donkey Kong versus Mario, stuff like that.
I would love to have Street Pass come back. I mean, it's useless for me because I live in the middle of nowhere, but for a lot of people, it would be very cool.
I miss like Nintendo mini game, mini app-like game, like these very bite-sized things. We had a lot of that on 3DS and a lot of that on Wii U, and I think it's fun. They test out little quirky things. Kirby Planet Robobot, my favorite Kirby game, maybe.
I don't love Kirby.
Freaking love that game. Oh, you and Guru, you subscribe to that theory?
What theory is that?
Oh, Bobby, Nintendo Guru. He has a lifelong passion to hate Kirby. So.
I don't hate Kirby. I just find the games to be boring.
Oh,
like when I play them, I'm like, all right, whatever.
I got you. It's very much, for the majority of them are very much like things you've seen before.
Yeah,
Robobot was, I think, different. But not in like a grand way that would blow you away and you experience Kirby for the first time again. Like not like that at all. But like Kirby Planet Robobot was really, really cool. It was side-scrolling platform like Kirby is, but jumping in and out of all these different robots and these different mechanics and just kind of like a power trip with Kirby. It was kind of fun. It was really, really enjoyable. I really liked it. We got to get off this topic, but every time I go to the next question, I keep thinking of another one. Rhythm Heaven. Like Rhythm Heaven Fever and all that, which is like a Wii title, but they also had the 3DS version.
Elite Beat Agents.
Yes, yeah. All right, let's get off this. Saints Row.
Send in your suggestions.
Yeah, we were talking about it in Discord. I think we covered most everybody's. Like I said, all the other ones are already over there. Saints Row the Third has been patched. Mario Maker 2 players have uploaded over 8 million courses to date. That's a ton.
Did you see the thing where somebody had made Super Mario 3 the Lost Levels, and they made like 32 levels separated into 8 worlds. They made it into a website where you go to the website, it has a story, you click on the thing, it tells you this is the code.
No, I did not see this, but I want to.
Yeah, if you Google it, for the listeners out there, Google Super Mario 3 the Lost Levels, and you can find it. I haven't tried it yet, but it sounds ridiculously cool.
That sounds amazing. I'm doing that. That's the type of stuff that I love Mario Maker for.
I don't understand why Nintendo didn't give them the ability to say, this is the first level, draw a link to my next level, draw a link to my next level, because that would have been amazing.
Yeah, and we talked about it, and I'm sure you did too. Leading up to Super Mario Maker 2, I was really hoping that you could release like packs.
Yeah.
Like groups of levels. That would be so great if we could release worlds instead of just level by level by level. And I realize it's management and storage, but at the same time, like, you don't have to download everything. So even if you could just release it and just group them together to where you could just say like, hey, you play this one and it goes to this one and this one. And even if you did it in like little bitty blocks, like 5 at a time, that still would have been such an improvement, because then it would have been cool to see players tell stories from level to level versus just random level after random level after random level.
It's pretty impressive what people are able to do with just one level, with telling a story. Like the weird thing where you ended up killing this Goomba, and then like you go back and it turns out that they had a family. Have you seen that level?
I have not seen that one.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
That's cool. Yeah, as I was saying, all the different mechanics they do, and even now, like without all of the amiibo support, because that was a big deal with on the Wii U version, you have all the different amiibo characters. You could tell all these different stories across all these different universes, and now it's just the Mushroom Kingdom. So the last thing that I have on my notes, we've got questions and stuff, but we're already an hour, so I'm just going to cut it all. The last thing
That's what happens when you invite me on the show.
This has been fantastic. We're gonna have to have you back. The last thing I have on the show is Pokemon leaks. We're going to talk about them, but I understand some folks don't want to hear anything about them, so I'm going to save it. I'm just going to save it until.
Did I leak anything earlier?
No, not
okay. I wasn't because I wasn't sure about the Minton thing.
No, so that's all that came out from the trailers and stuff. So I don't consider that a leak. That's been confirmed by Nintendo. That's good. We have actual leaks. We've got starter evolutions and all kinds of actual leaks that people don't want to know about. So we're not going to talk about them here. But before I close out the show and run the thing and then come back to talk about Pokemon leaks, tell me about this show, because I subscribed to it today, but I haven't got a chance to listen to it. Your new show. Like, I want to give you a chance to plug your thing, but tell me about your show.
Okay, so the whole thing behind 143 Pixels is every episode I bring a friend on. That friend picks the game that we're going to talk about, and I interview them for somewhere like a half an hour, 45 minutes about why this is a great game.
Wow.
And then before you get to hear that interview, I tell you at the beginning why I invited that person on the show, and then I tell you a little bit about that game, and then you get to hear the interview. So that's what it is. And it comes out every Tuesday, and you can check that out over, along with all of my other shows, over at runjumpstomp.com/shows.
Yeah, man. And you do the Switchcraft, and you do Stadia show, and PSVG and Run Jump Stomp in so many ways parallel each other and have a lot of crossover. So, you were absolutely a natural guest to come by. We've known you for a long time. We've seen you on our Discord for forever, and we talk on Twitter and stuff. So definitely to give you guys a chance to plug all your stuff. You do great stuff. You do amazing stuff. And you just came down to Dragon Con. You just went to, is it RetroCon?
Yeah, I went to Retro Game Con this weekend. That was awesome. I interviewed the woman who plays Zelda in Breath of the Wild.
Wow.
I interviewed her this weekend, and it's a short little interview, but man, she was super nice. I also met the woman who plays Bangalore in Apex Legends.
Nice.
And it was like, they were just super nice. I went, like, they invited me to come into the green room and sat down, and Bangalore's over there eating salad or whatever, and I'm having this conversation with Zelda. I was like, that's so weird.
We did MomoCon, and for our folks that are make fun of me, I know Devin and Kevin, they listen to this and be like, you don't know who that is. I don't play Apex. I don't know who that is. But just to get that out of the way so they can't tease me about it. I know what you're thinking. I'm in your head. I can hear your thoughts.
All right. Well, I'll make sure that you know who she is. She was one of the kids when she was a kid. She was one of the kids on Magic School Bus.
Oh, wow. Now, see, that I know. I know that more than the other folks. But when I went to MomoCon, it was doing our interviews, they had all of the folks from Overwatch. They had like 10 Overwatch characters that were constantly around all the time. And making jokes and stuff. And I just recently got Overwatch because of Switch. I never played it on the other console, so I was completely like out of the loop too. But it's cool. All those events, anytime you get any chance anybody can ever get to a con. I was completely won over by my experience. If you can get to any con where you get to have any sort of access or get an autograph or just talk to somebody or get an interview, like all that stuff is super fun. Super fun. So if you're out there listening to Nintendo Shack and you're thinking about doing something, that's two people here that would wholeheartedly recommend that you get out there and get to one. At least try it. Got to try it because without PSVG, I never would have tried it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have tried it either. And I went to Dragon Con this year, and I spoke at Dragon Con this year, and it was incredible. And people came up to me, and they were like, "I've seen your show," and I was like, this is the weirdest thing in my like. What the hell is happening? It was so weird, but also awesome at the same time. And I can't wait to go back next year.
When we went to MomoCon, it was one of my this crazy thing. Now that I'm just remembering,
I have to pause for a second. What the hell is MomoCon?
Oh, I'm sorry. MomoCon is so Momo is Peach. So it means Peach in Japan, and it's at the exact same place you were at for Dragon Con. It's over the Congress Center, and it's in the summer. I think it's Dragon Con is definitely bigger. Much bigger, huge, much bigger thing. But MomoCon almost is more gaming focused than Dragon Con because they have lots of this. So they'll have a Smash tournament. They'll have,
when you say Peach, you mean like Princess Peach?
No, like the fruit.
Oh, okay.
So it's here in Atlanta.
Okay,
there you go.
Yeah. Okay.
And it has a huge. Not a huge. It's definitely not as big as Dragon Con, so I try to keep the scale the same. But they have a big cosplay event. It's probably more focused on comics, like very much comics and anime and stuff like that. But like for example, like when I went, I interviewed Troy Baker and Nolan North and Suda 51. Okay. And Suda 51, I think, has come to the last 3 of them. So he's always doing like his No More Heroes thing. They have like a panel and stuff like that. We had the Overwatch characters come through. We had all the Dragon Ball Z characters come through. So it's not big by any means, I wouldn't say that, but it's you're going to wait in line for a while to get in and all that. So it's definitely really fun, but I think they have a little bit more like I don't want to say like gaming going on, not like games in terms of cosplay and all this stuff, because Dragon Con is so big. Of course, there's a lot of people out there dressed up like Zelda and stuff like that, but this actually has they had like a retro arcade setup. They had a tournament going on with a stage. It's Smash going, all these arcade cabinets, Pokemon tournaments, Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments, all that stuff. Board games, whole board game floor. So it's more stuff like that.
I just looked it up and it's in May, so I can't go.
Well, the next time you come to Atlanta, man, you got to let me know. I could.
Well, I know. I mean, I know. I want to go to Dragon Con, but I'm a high school teacher. I can't go anywhere in May.
In May. Yeah, next time you go to Dragon Con, you let me know. I'll squeeze you through some lines, man. We'll do dinner. That's definitely a case. That's definitely going to happen. All right.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm going to run our outro, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about a little bit. Not going to spoil everything. It's not going to be super details. But if you don't want to hear anything, this is where you end the show. We're going to talk a little bit about some of these Pokemon spoilers. Okay. Have you been following any of these actual Pokemon, like spoilers? The evolutions that are leaking? The Pokedex?
No, because I just don't care.
Oh, thank you.
Like, I don't care about, like, okay, sure, this one, it looks cool, and then it looks cooler, so hooray. It does not affect me. So I've just, anytime that somebody talks about new Pokemon information, you get to see what this guy looks like. I'm like, all right, I don't care. I just want to go check him off on a box.
I got you. The collect them all thing.
Yeah.
So we know the starter evolutions. I'm not going to go through them all. We know the full Pokedex. We basically have a compilation of most of the Pokemon in the Galarian forms. I say we know them. They've been data mined. I think they came out of a guide. The leaker's basically been found and shut down, I think, from the last time I checked. I'm not following it super closely, but we did stand up a Discord room where we can share some of these things if anybody wants to see them. Be careful. There is an evolution to Mr. Mime called Mr. Rhyme. And it's like this. It's like an old Mr. Mime with like a cane, and
now that sounds great.
I'm that's totally into
entertaining.
I was like, this is amazing. I'm not sold on the design. When I first saw it, I was like, I don't know about that, but I am super excited to like play with them. Like I want to add them to my team and see how that works. Looks super cool. I mentioned like Cubone is not in there. Like so a lot of my favorites for that matter are not in there. But a lot of people are really upset about this stuff. Like, a lot of people are upset that this is getting out there. There are other people that say it's weird. We have Pokemon fans. I mean, I guess the answer is that people will always be upset. I think that's the rule of the internet. But people are upset that the Pokedex didn't have everybody. Then they were upset that they didn't know the evolutions. Then they were upset when the evolutions leaked. Now they're upset that they know who's there and there are no surprises. Like, I think everybody comes to Pokemon with a bunch of different opinions, but there's a lot of spoilers out there. Like all of the stuff I think the Pokemon company was trying to keep under wraps, all that stuff is starting to leak its way out there. So if you were one of those folks that are, dodging the spoilers, one, you shouldn't be listening to me to it, but like, two, you should definitely like stay off Twitter or YouTube for 10 days.
Yeah, I don't understand this. Like, people get super mad. Okay, as a content creator, I stream on Twitch, I stream on YouTube, blah, 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 blah. Somebody might come in and spoil something, whatever it might be, maybe the new Star Wars movie or something. They might come in and do that because they're a jackass. So if that's the case, like that's on them. I can't really help that. But if you're not a content creator, like, just stop following Nintendo related stuff, because look at who I am. I'm a Nintendo podcaster, and I could not tell you any of these leaks because I don't care. So it's obviously easy enough to avoid this stuff. Why are people upset that they didn't choose to avoid it? I don't get it.
Okay, so I've had a long, I would say roundabout with our Discord and our other podcast members and folks in our community. Nintendo Shack has always been very pro spoiler. Like, we like the rumors, we like the insider stuff. We want to follow the stories and the leaks. Like, I've always really liked it. A lot of folks get really upset about it. So I've tried to become more empathetic to the folks that don't want to have things spoiled for them. I understand that. But there is that thing that I always remind people. I'm like, if you're listening to our show, if you're in our Discord, if you're following on Twitter and you're following all of your favorite content creators and all these people, it's bound to happen. You're playing with fire. It's going to happen because that's just how it is. That's how it works. I mean, that's not new. It's just enhanced. It's just amplified now. There were forums in 2005 when I was following rumors, when it was just everything was text based.
Exactly. I really like some YouTubers that talk about movies all the time. When there's a new movie coming out that I'm looking forward to, I stop going to their content. And that's my advice to anybody out there who if you like my show and if you like Shaq and you know that there's a game coming out that you're going to want to not be spoiled on, just take a break.
Yeah.
Keep downloading those shows, but don't listen to them. All right? Come back afterwards. Just so you mentioned Bobby earlier. I interviewed Bobby for 143 Pixels, and he and I were talking about a game, and he was talking about the fact that he didn't really know anything about this game, and somebody was talking about it on a podcast, and he was like, oh, they're having a spoiler episode. I'm not going to listen to that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go buy the game, play it, and then listen to it.
Then come back.
And he has that agency. He can do that, and you can too.
One of the really cool leaks about the legendaries is that they don't always have that armor on, and you can actually take it off, and they basically just look like Twilight Princess, like.
But then they're not allowed to be in Smash Brothers, then, right? Is that what you're saying? Oh man, I'm such a jerk.
They're pretty cool, and that's it. As I keep looking, there's more here that I wrote, but I don't want to go through every nook and cranny and details. You guys are going to find it out soon enough. It's a week away. You know what? This actually might be notable. Maybe it's not, but maybe 3 years from now it becomes super notable, and you remember where you heard it. There's some folks on Reddit that are proclaiming that that it could be setting us up to go back to Sinnoh, because none of the Pokemon that originated from the Sinnoh region got a Galarian form. And really none of the other generations that are really in is it Diamond and Pearl, that are really in those games, are in this game at all. Like, even from other generations. So a lot of people are thinking, like, is the next game going back? Could, like, we have a Let's Go sequel? Could it be Diamond and Pearl Let's Go or something like that? Or are they reserving some of the Pokemon for this next installment? Maybe that's why they cut them out in half. I think it's a far-fetched theory, and I am using that pun correctly. But I think... But it's interesting. I mean, I don't want to say where there's smoke, there's fire, because I think that's giving this little observation way too much credit than it deserves. But it is interesting because I started looking at the chart and and they're actually right. A lot of the Pokemon from those games are not here, whether they be Gen 1, 2, or 3. It doesn't matter. Like, they're just not in this one at all. So it is interesting.
Whether that's true or not, and I don't know, because I didn't play Diamond and Pearl or Silver and Gold or any of those. My first Pokemon was Pokemon X. So,
oh wow, okay,
yeah, I never played Pokemon because when it came out, I was at the age where I was like, I'm too cool for this, and then I just kind of stuck with that for a really long time. And then somebody was like, no, dude, these are really good RPGs. You should try them out. And so I tried Pokemon X, and I was like, this is dope. I like it. It's fun. But you mentioned this going back to a Let's Go kind of thing. I do think that we're going to get a TikTok with a TikTok release schedule with Pokemon, where it will be a full-on RPG, and then the next year is going to be a Let's Go version of an older one. And the reason why this makes a lot of sense is because they can use the assets in both games. The Let's Go ones, they don't have as much work to do because they already have all of that stuff planned out. They just have to, I mean, trust me, it's still a lot of work, but it's not as much work as making something from scratch.
Exactly.
If that makes sense. Yep. And that will give them more time to get that talk release out every time, because they're working on the tick. The tick is the Let's Go spoon. And then the talk release is going to be, you know, the actual RPG. And I think that we're going to have this TikTok release, so they'll keep ping-ponging back and forth, and that'll allow them to take the time that it requires to make 700, 800, 1,000 new
Pokemon
new
models with
Thank you. I
new
could never
animations,
think of the word
with
model.
moves and everything and
Right.
balance. Yeah, absolutely, and it is interesting. I was reading through the Reddit and seeing them like go through and check everything off, and I was like, you know, that's good observation. It's good awareness by whoever postulated that to begin with, because it's pretty spot on. And if they were, I'm with you. I played Pokemon back on 64. I never had a Game Boy, but Diamond and Pearl is kind of like the Link's Awakening in my Pokemon history, where I've played most of them, just like Zelda games, but I never really played Link's Awakening. So I have Diamond and Pearl. I think the 3DS versions, or I may have Crystal. It might be Crystal, but I've never really played them. I played Yellow. I played Red. I played X. I played X2. I played Sun and Moon. Let's Go. I've played all that stuff. But yeah, that Diamond and Pearl would be the one that. Did
you just see that?
No, that's happened to me. That happened to me last week. This giant like flies like swing by, and everybody's like,
"There's
whoa.
a ladybug." Scared the hell out of me.
All right, Bill, that's going to do it for Shaq this week. I appreciate you, goodness. One, for coming over. Like, thanks so much for dropping by the Nintendo Shack. Two, for staying when Caro got it, because it would have just been me doing the solo show. So
she was the only reason I was coming. So,
I'm sure. She's the only reason anybody listens in the first place. Trust me, we all know. we all know. So she's a superstar, and hopefully she'll be back next week. Caroline, feel better. Love you. Miss you. Got to come back to Shaq. So
thanks for having me on, man. It was fun.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say to the Koopalings before we get out of here?
Watch out for Mario. That guy's kind of a jerk.
Good night, Koopalings.